Hello, people. Welcome to Split View.
Good afternoon, my friend Tom. We're in the studio again.
With me is Tombot and Geordiebot.
Yes, that's a good name if it wasn't so...
Tombot or Geordiebot?
Both of them.
I guess
it's
so.
very unoriginal, though. There's lots of bots going around, you know? And hey, if we know anything, it's that we play like fucking bots from all the times that we've been playing Valorant. Because we are not great.
Play like CSGO easy bots?
Yeah, literally. So I should probably change my name.
Even CSGO expert bots. Like,
yeah,
those things
yeah. I tried the bots in Valorant.
Yeah.
They'll fuck you up, dude.
Are there bots in Valorant?
Oh, yeah. There's like a firing range thing where you can test out, and they just are literal... Of course, they actually are aim bots, but they just fucking... I don't even know where I die from sometimes.
Well, the trouble with designing bots is that it's very easy to make them too good. You can literally make them aim bots. You can make them just snap to the heads and kill.
To me, it seems
instantly.
like it'd be harder to make them worse.
Yeah, exactly. You have to make them act human instead of act like a hacked client. So that's always been like a complicated issue, and it turns out like it's better that there are like brain dead than being aimbot. You know?
Yeah.
It's an odd issue.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of, funnily enough, game design fucking hard, Jordy.
Yeah, I know, but I gave it a very brief go, as I think I've mentioned.
It always tripped me out how, when I found out that when you're connected to a server in a multiplayer video game, you're basically running a game on your computer, and you're playing in your own little world, and it's like there are holograms of other players in your world. That probably does not make any sense.
It does make sense to me. Like, it does make sense to me.
Do you know how sometimes in Minecraft you'll get disconnected and it says internal server error?
Yeah.
That's because you like Minecraft is. It's not like you're just running off the server. Like your game is still doing processing. Your game is running a version of itself and then communicating with the server to sync it up.
Yeah.
Like it's essentially like you have to recreate the game on the client.
It's like for every person who's on the server, that's how many games are going.
Yeah, like it's because if
the server is what just stitches it together and makes it look like you're playing together, even though you're actually not.
It's an illusion. Like you're essentially shooting bots that are controlled by other people's actions, and then you tell the server, "Hey, I shot someone." And the server's like, let me check if you did shoot them."
NGL, bro, that's some wacky shit.
I've run into this issue because I'm trying to adapt a certain game concept, it's made in a client that's absolutely shit and is like a browser client, so you're running it entirely off the server.
You're remaking cool math games.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, totally.
Keep it alive.
But this game, the lower ping you have, the faster you run, because your client can send packets faster. Since you're running entirely on the server, it depends how fast you can send packets.
Right.
Yeah, so if you have more delay, there's more time between your keyboard inputs.
Yeah.
Like, it's really funky, but that's not the topic today.
No.
Oh, actually, mandatory, did we watch any media this week or last week?
Actually, I did. And this is going to surprise a lot of people, you included a lot, I imagine. So my girlfriend, she told me, she was like, hey, you want to watch something?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, sure, why not? And she was like, let's watch an episode of Queer Eye. Do you know Queer Eye?
Yeah.
So the premise is that there's 5 gay guys and they make over straight guys mostly, right? This is not something I would usually watch. Okay, this sort of like feel-good TV thing is not usually my thing, but I tell you what, dude, I am hooked. I fucking love this show, and it makes me feel damn good about myself.
Would you watch it by yourself?
Yes, I already have.
Cool.
I already have. And I tell you what, dude, I cannot remember the last time I cried for any piece of media, or even at all.
What did you cry about?
I cried in almost every episode of this show. Because it is so goddamn wholesome, dude. It's so nice.
I guess.
It's just, I don't know, man. I'm happy.
You're shaking the shit out of the table, by the way.
Sorry. It's getting me all happy, dude.
You're doing the radio show, like, arm on the table, like, let me tell you about this. He's gesturing his hand towards me.
I feel like, what's that really old talk show host? Larry King. Yeah. How did you fucking know that?
Because he's like on...
But I wasn't even finished saying it, and you already
He's doing podcasts from the deathbed. He's like the one fucking...
Yeah, he is. You can almost hear his fucking heart rate monitor in the background of these fucking...
There's someone...
interviews.
Oh, no, it was... who the fuck was the Ghostbuster guy?
Bill Murray?
No, the other dude, the crazy one.
They're all crazy.
Well, yeah, but Bill Murray's just kind of... Well, most of them are dead, but one of them's dead.
If I heard the name, I'd know it. But
Dan Aykroyd, that's who it is.
Yeah, he making that vodka.
Yeah, that's what he has. Crystal Head vodka. He went on Larry King Live and he gave Larry King a shot of vodka.
Oh, I've seen this.
And he was like,
Yeah.
Very smooth.
Yeah, clearly, Larry. He probably just hasn't got a liver to process it. That's probably what's hurting so bad.
That was that JonTron video. That's right. That's
Yeah. That's where I've seen it. Yeah,
but
I wouldn't know a goddamn thing about him if it wasn't for that.
Yeah. What do you get out of Queer Eye for a Straight Guy? Is that what it's called?
Well, I mean, it's not gay porn. It's just like it's
what?
Well, you were like, you said, what do I get out of it as a straight guy?
No, I didn't.
You
I
actually
said
that.
I said no. Queer Eye for a Straight Guy. That's the name of the show.
No, it's not.
What is it called then?
Queer Eye.
That's like the full title, though.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
It's Queer Eye More Than a Makeover.
I might be thinking of the South Park parody, but
You probably are. Although there was this is a remake of the series that was out like 20 years ago, apparently, which I did not know either.
I'm pretty sure the first one was called Queer Eye for a Straight Guy.
It could be. I
haven't seen the new one, but I've seen clips of the old one.
And like, I don't know, man. It just makes me feel so nice because they always pick people who are like. I always relate to the people that they make over, which is kind of sad.
I relate to this fat slob that doesn't care about
Literally,
himself.
like it's.
Yeah, man, it's called Queer Eye for a Straight Guy, the 2003 one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. I just every episode I'm like I can relate with something in this, and you can tell that they're sad and they're stuck in a rut and they don't know what to do. And most of the time, these people are really good people. They just don't have the money, or they don't have this, that, or the other.
Is it mostly like fashion advice, or is it like
No, actually,
life advice as well?
It's that all five of them do a different thing.
Okay.
So one of them is fashion, one of them is culture. He's basically a therapist, the culture guy.
Alrighty.
One of them is like design, so they always redo something that's important in their life, like their house, or if they work at I just watched one with a teacher. They redid like the teacher's lounge.
Okay.
Made that really nice. One of them's food, so they'll teach them how to cook and how to maybe if they're catering an event or something, he'll do that. And the last guy, he's like grooming, so he'll do their hair and the actual makeover part.
Probably not the best word to use.
No, I thought that as well, but I mean, I don't know. It's just like there's not an unwholesome thing about it. It's just so nice for me to watch. I just love it. It makes me feel so good.
I have troubles like trying to see things without bias and without like cynicism. So I don't know if I'd get. I just find it kind of like, why do they have to specifically mention that they're like gay people? Why can't they just be? Because you're implying that's inherently implying that gay people are different, and somehow a regular man can't tend to himself. To me, it's like it's kind of patronizing for non-straight people.
I can see where you're coming from, but what I think is like it's called Queer Eyes because it's seeing from the perspective of the people who are thinking differently about their appearance.
Yeah, but
right?
that's so implying that a regular heterosexual man just doesn't have any is just a slob who can't tend to himself, who can't do anything.
Yes and no though, because they don't do regular people. They do people who don't know how to do that sort of thing, and they don't know how to take care of themselves, and they're stuck in a rut. And I see what you mean. I do see what you mean.
I know the actual reason. It's because they're capitalizing off the previous show, so they can't just rename it. And then,
exactly.
They, it
is an actual remake of the entire formula, from what I know. So they're just taking the same name, and this time Netflix has taken it up. But I don't know, man. It's cool. It's so nice to watch.
I'm sure it is
actually
great.
Just makes me so happy. I watched it all day yesterday and today, up until today, and I just feel so good, dude. I feel happier from just watching a show, and that is pretty wild to me.
I don't know if it'd be for me, but I'm happy you enjoy it.
Yeah,
I'm happy that.
Yeah, I mean that's what I was like. Someone. Oh yeah, my sister walked in on me, and she was like, "I'm so surprised you're watching this."
Okay.
Like, because I was just watching it in like the lounge room, not in my room.
Yeah.
And she was like,
so bold,
I'm so
Jordy.
surprised you're watching this. And I was like, oh,
Did Ali put this on for you? Is Ali forcing you to watch this?
Well, she suggested that I watch it, yeah. But she didn't think I would like it. She was just like, maybe you should just watch an episode of this. You might feel good about it. And I was like, yeah, all right, whatever. Yeah, sure, yeah.
Okay.
Because this is coming from someone who genuinely watches the same two shows on repeat always.
And what are those two shows, Geordie?
Friends and How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah.
Because I'm a fucking normie. And I literally just watched that. Right now I'm on the How I Met Your Mother rotation. I've just started it because I just finished Friends again. For anyone who actually gives a fuck, which should be no one. But you're
like the people who watch The Office on repeat.
Literally, I am. Except I think I'm worse in that regard, aren't I?
Because you have two shows instead of one.
Well, no, because those shows are objectively worse than The Office, I think. Most people, if you tell most people that you like The Office, they'll be like, "Ah, bro, you're so funny."
I think you can't use the word objective when it comes to entertainment.
That's true. But I mean, if you here's what I think.
Technical aspect, yeah.
If I went up to a bunch of random people, say I went up to 20 people,
Yeah.
and I said my favorite show is Friends, which it is,
Okay.
and I said my favorite show was The Office,
Yeah.
to another 20, I think there'd be more people who would agree with The Office
Yeah,
choice
but
over the Friends
that's
one.
just consensus. That's context. That's bias. Like
Yeah,
that's
that's
not
true.
an object. Like if the sound guy fucked up in Friends, that's an objective like fault
Yeah.
of the show. But just subjective, like oh, this appeals to me. Like we've talked about this in
Yeah,
like
we
art or
have.
whatever. But
And here's the thing with watching Queer Eye, right?
yeah,
Is that now I don't care
okay.
as much.
Care
as I
about
did.
what?
Because I always feel like people judge me for watching the same shit over and
Yeah.
over again. Because it's like, why don't you do something else with your time? But here's the thing, right? I'm never actually watching it. Most people have this, but they put YouTube or they put
background
streams
noise.
on in the background. I just put Friends on. That's the difference.
Yeah,
That's the
I guess
difference.
so.
That's it.
Yeah, but it's like comfort entertainment. Though.
Exactly. And here's the thing, right? I know there's psychological connections for me here. It's because it's safe for me, right? I've seen it so many times, and it's like a comfort type thing. That's what I'm guessing is sort of happening. Anyway, it's been 12 minutes now, and we haven't even got on to our regular subject
Okay.
yet. So,
I wanted to do another one of those like Vsauce / like
we're deep diving.
kind of, yeah. I have a bunch of interrelated subjects,
All right.
and I have kind of like a way of flowing through them. So
Play that funky music.
the heading I called it was like right now in science and tech, because like this is how during the week I learn things, I like research things, I come across things naturally, and they all kind of flow. And I thought it'd be nice to present this because this is information that you might know precursory, but you don't know like in depth. And I thought I thought people would like to know these things. And-
Okay, yeah, absolutely, dude. Hit me with that shit.
Alrighty, so I told you a couple of days ago that Starlink launched successfully, right?
Yes, you did.
Do you know much about Starlink?
Not
SpaceX
at all,
kind of thing?
which fits very well, I'm sure.
So, basically, Elon Musk is launching satellites into space to provide
I really
internet.
had to try and work out what you were saying there.
Yeah,
For the people who don't understand, Tom, that was
They
launching
understand.
satellites into space.
yeah, to space.
Into space.
So these satellites, they have lasers. I think they have 5 high-powered lasers, and I want you to try
with
to
really big cats.
Yeah, dude, yeah.
Clifford.
Vaporized cats.
Oh, Jesus.
I want you to try to guess how, like, let's say Elon Musk wants to cover the globe with satellites. How many satellites is that?
Cover the globe.
Yeah, like...
As in, like,
wants to-
have the entire Earth be in...
Well, no, like,
range?
covered internet-wise via satellites in low Earth orbit. Like, say...
I'm going to guess it's not actually a high number. I'm going to guess
Yeah.
15.
42,000.
What?
Yeah. So they launched these... It was actually going to be 13,000, but other way around. FCC approved, like, 20 or 30,000, and then they got approved for another 13,000. So...
Whoa.
They plan. Do you know what the craziest part about this is? They started in 2018, and they launched 60 satellites every like couple of months. They're so fucking quick at this.
I was literally about to ask you, did they just actually launch 42,000 satellites into space at once?
No. They plan to have it operational in 2021. They already have They started 22nd of February 2018. They have 482 in orbit already.
Out of 48,000 or 42.
42,000 already in like a year or two. They have 400.
That's not a very good margin.
Well, that's just like they're setting up the first network of mesh, but like in 2 years they have 482 satellites. That's a crazy number, and they're still planning on 42,000.
So what's the objective for having all the satellites? What's the goal?
To provide internet around the globe. Because
So this is like proper NASA grade internet to everyone, right?
NASA grade internet.
You know what I mean? They got that gigabit download.
Yeah, but that's
dude.
not like that's
So that's pussy shit. What Elon's doing is like
Well, no, it's
100 gigabit a second.
It's not speed, it's like bandwidth. Essentially what they want to do, they want to have the entire, like, these satellites, they'll be in a dense mesh around the Earth, and then they'll all communicate with each other. They communicate like in a mesh network. So if one goes away, they can like redo the link. You know, like it's a redundant thing. And then they each have radio like transmitter receivers on them that beam down to like a conical radius on the Earth. So the entire Earth will be covered radio wise, and then you just have Elon Musk has said it's like a pizza box size thing you put on your roof, and you can just have internet.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily for consumers. I mean, if you're building 42,000 satellites, you're probably going to like sell to consumers.
I would assume you would be trying to go a little bit further.
How do you think they're going to make money off that if they're not selling it to consumers?
I mean, there's also the chance that Elon did this for fun. He's not above it.
He actually tested it by like tweeting from it, so I guess there's still a fun aspect.
He did.
He literally tweeted, "This is from Starlink. This is a first test." So that's cool.
Does it say in the corner "sent from Starlink satellite 0111"?
I don't know, it's probably some dumb thing, just like sent from Windows or
Probably,
Linux or whatever. Yeah. What if? So their main business model is not to sell to consumers. They're going to sell to consumers, but that's not where their main revenue is coming from. Who do you think is going to benefit from having a dense mesh? Actually, it's not covering Antarctica because no fucking
What's
human.
the point?
Yeah, exactly. There's like one or two research stations on Antarctica anyway, but
They're just looking at penguins and shit. They don't need internet.
Actually, yeah, that's probably what they're
Patting a
doing.
polar bear
Probably
or
just
whatever.
drilling into the ice and tasting it and being like, okay, it tastes good.
Yeah, it's still ice.
So who do you think their main consumer is?
I'm going to say like big businesses.
Yeah, it's
But
on the right
that
track.
seems a little too obvious.
But
There's got to be something I'm not thinking of.
I wouldn't be surprised if you didn't know this, but trading, internet trading. Why do you think they would benefit
Like
from
stocks?
Yeah, stock trading. Why do you think they would benefit from using satellites instead of undersea cables?
Because you can respond faster.
Yep, exactly.
Ah.
So if someone wanted to trade from like, I don't know, New York to like France or something, undersea cable, that would be almost 100 milliseconds.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's worth 42,000 satellites, but it's a good idea.
Oh, it is. It very much is. Literally, like private companies have been established to get 1 or 2 millisecond advantage. Since in that 1 or 2 milliseconds, you can short, you can do everything. You can see what your competitor is going to do. You can respond faster to stocks. You can make so much fucking money.
Yeah, dude. It's like fucking esports. You got that extra, like, you've got that 144 hertz monitor. You can do that shit quicker.
That's literally what it is. Just response rate. That's what they care about the most.
Wow.
So I think someone did like a breakdown, like a communications engineer, and they said that undersea cables, like there are private undersea cables for stock traders. They can rent those out, but they have like maybe like 70, 80 to 100 milliseconds delay or round trip time. Whereas SpaceX, if they created a fixed like mesh cluster, they could get like, what is it, like 40 or 50 milliseconds.
Jeez.
And that's good. That's
good.
That's like Australia to like, I mean, that's like Brisbane to Perth. Like that's good fucking response time. And apparently that's where their main revenue is going to come from, just stock traders. Although
I can see it.
That's going to create a problem though. If everyone's using this quick response time, then the response time's going to level out. So.
Is that why there's so many of the satellites then? So that they can sort of
It's for redundancy. It's for like it's a mesh network, so they need like basically there are ground stations that's like either use lasers or like radio waves to connect to them, but it's for redundancy and because the Earth is fucking big.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. It's kind of like my Google Wi-Fi network that never seems to set up properly.
We were talking about that when I was at your house, and I don't think you have it set up right.
I do. I think.
I don't think that's true.
Probably not, actually. But it's working now.
I wouldn't be surprised if Google made a bad product since Google... Have you seen that one website, killedbygoogle.com?
No.
Google has thousands of services that they run for like a month to a year and then just shut down.
I swear to God, they change their mind quicker than I do when it comes to shit. Because I'm always like, I'm bored with this now. I won't play with it anymore. Except they have fucking billions of dollars to do that with.
Pretty much, they just throw money at any problem. That
Google is actually what I would... If I had $1 billion, that's what would happen.
Yeah.
Only I wouldn't be smart enough to come up with Google in the first place. I'd just be like, I want to make a car with rocket launchers. Yeah, I'm bored with this now.
Sell it to the military.
Let's make it...
That's what they do. They just get bored of things and they stop fucking supporting them.
I mean, if you've got the money for it, you might as well try it, and people get work for that time.
People get angry though. Like they made used to be able to buy Chromecast audio, which was a little Chromecast device that just connected to speakers. You can't buy that anymore.
That would be a good idea.
Yeah, it was a good idea, and it was out for years, and then they just stopped selling it. So you can't hook up Chromecast to a custom audio system. You have to like hack another Chromecast.
I know for a fact it's real fucking hard to stream audio to like hi-fi setups. If you've got like, you need to have like a full server and shit with all these. What's that expensive program called? Do you
Describe it?
Well, it's sort of like it's like a remote sort of thing where everything connects to it to get your audio file setup running. Like if you've got a bunch of speakers and shit, you need to connect it to this server and Roon.
I don't think I've heard of this before. But...
ROON or something, and it's like $500 to buy.
Well, that's just audio file shit. Like that's like,
but like it's like apparently just a fucking slightly upgraded version of Linux, and it's $500. And all it does is just play sound through your things, and like that's just what you need to make it run or something. I don't know. I'm not too. That was when I got my headphones. I was like, man, I'm gonna get all this shit. I'm still gonna get a record player. I think that's gonna be fun and cool.
That'd be fine one.
But that's probably the extent of it for me.
Yeah.
So if anyone's listening, go and be like, oh, what is he gonna get those new Kef speakers, bro? I don't know if they're any good, but I remember them being good like 5 years ago. Probably not anymore.
Just get studio monitors.
Yeah.
I have a big list of things in my. I've shown Jordy my Google Keep. I have like 1,000 notes or something, even more than that, of just random ideas I want to make. And I have this idea for like a wireless audio system, and wireless audio is just such a shit thing. Like, there's inherent problems with it, mostly due to delays and like compression and all that. Like, it is a miracle that like Skype, Zoom, and Discord can work in the first place, because like trying to send packets of audio over the internet in close to real time is just a fucking nightmare.
I can imagine.
But so next kind of thing, right?
We're going deeper.
I'm gonna tell you. I'm just gonna read out the heading for this one.
All right, do it.
Infrared eye injection.
Infrared eye injection.
What do you think that means?
Is this something that will help your eyes?
Yes.
So it's an infrared. Does it help with like color blindness or blindness?
It probably does. Yeah.
Oh, you don't know.
I imagine it would.
Okay.
So, scientists create nanoparticles, which are tiny little fucking things, which are like the size of a couple of atoms.
Yeah.
That glow green when exposed to infrared light. So, Jordy, they're
going to put that in your eyes?
Yes. They stick a big old needle into your eye.
Is it going to make you the Green Lantern?
Do you what's so special about infrared light, Jordy? Do you know?
Well, I don't.
What do you think? Okay, so thermal cameras, right?
Yeah.
They see infrared light.
Yes.
So anything that radiates heat also radiates infrared light. So you inject particles into your retina that give you thermal eyes.
Why would you want this?
You can see everything.
Why would you want to see that?
I would fucking do this. I'm contemplating making this.
Why?
Because think about this. You would still have normal vision. Probably. But there's a bit of there's a bit of like, there's a caveat, there's a bit of a star.
You could go fully blind. You could genuinely
die right now. Jordy, you could die right now.
I could, but I could also have vision for the rest of my life.
Jordy, you know me.
I know.
You know how much I'm into like biohacking and all that.
I know, and I'm very worried now that you will actually do this and lose an eye. Are you going to do
I would lose 2 eyes.
You're going to do both of them at the same time?
Well, then you would have fucked up vision. You'd have to wear a fucking eye patch. I'm not a bioengineer. Look, I mean, I'm not a particle physicist.
You're still going to DIY this, are you?
Well, okay, so let me explain the benefits of this. So, as I said before, anything that radiates heat emits infrared light in a spectrum. So, like, the colder it is, the less light, the wavelength and all that. Thermal cameras. Why are thermal cameras cool, Jordy?
Because they let you see heat
but
coldness.
Everything emits heat. Everything.
Yeah. So everything would just be fucked that you would look at.
No. If you injected this into your eyes and you calibrated the particles not to be that bright, everything would glow like a tinge of green. So you could stand in a pitch black field and see everything around you perfectly clearly.
Would that work?
Yeah, that would absolutely work. That's what thermal cameras are. You can stand in a pitch black field with a thermal camera and then pick out living beings because they glow much brighter.
Sure. Yeah.
So obviously the military is working on this technology. Of course they are, yeah. The military has this technology. They've done this. They're not admitting to it because, Mensa and fucking Geneva Convention, they can't just fuck with people's eyes, but The military has people who have thermal vision eyes.
Fucking hell, dude!
I would love that.
Why do we need this?
Do you know what's cool as well? Some materials are infrared transparent, so you could see through certain materials, like bin bags. You could see straight through.
You know, those guys are going to start making pants out of that shit for women. You know what's going to happen.
What does that mean?
So you can see through girls' pants.
But why would women wear those?
Because you wouldn't tell them.
Okay.
You would just say, like, check out these pants. They have real big pockets. You'll love these. Put them on.
Thinking like a material science engineer snuck in a certain chemical into like pant manufacturers.
Or actually, you know what? It's probably that.
Yeah.
Over the two options.
Like, a materials engineer happened to create
espionage.
Happened to create a thread that was infrared. Yeah. Okay. Whatever. But like, do you know like the fucking advantages to this? Like, you could see everything. Like, if you're an electrician, you could diagnose overheating wires through walls.
Though.
If you're a carpenter, you could see studs in walls because they conduct more or less heat. I have steel-framed walls in my house. I could see, if I had this injection, I could see the studs in the walls because they're made out of metal and they're colder. There's so many advantages.
That's pretty whack. It's pretty whack. I wouldn't do it mostly because it skeeves me out doing shit to myself.
Yeah, because...
Or actually doing, like, anything.
And also it's untested.
Yeah, that's...
officially untested.
But,
yeah, like I said before, there are people that do this. There is a biohacking community.
There is. And they are the ones that made Cyberpunk 2077.
Recently, the dude who made Cyberpunk 2077 on Twitter said, "This is supposed to be a warning, guys. This is an aspiration. I was warning y'all."
Isn't that funny how we see that shit and we're like, bro, that looks cool as fuck.
Yeah, because it's cool as fuck, but, it's...
I mean, it's cool as fuck because it's not real. And it's a dystopian future that is cool as fuck.
It's a cyberpunk future because they cared so much about the technology being cool, they didn't care about the racial divide and, like, technological, like, fucking dystopia that they created.
Yeah.
They were so focused on cool tech.
I mean, the premise and this video game is cool.
Yeah.
If it were real, it would not be cool.
I don't think it's going to be that good, to be honest.
I think it's going to be so average that it's going to be like Anthem. Do you remember Anthem? How everyone was jerking that game off.
Anthem was objectively terrible.
I honestly, all I saw was the cinematic trailers, and I was like, this is a game I'm not going to play. And everyone's like, bro, it's Anthem!
It had flawed game design, though.
It looked good.
This is the thing about Cyberpunk. It's probably going to be a good game, but it's
going to be a good game, and that's it.
It's not a perfect game. It's not a game where you can do literally fucking everything. It's not a game where,
that's impossible, so...
Yeah, like, except if you play Space Station 13.
But that doesn't look good.
Someone might be trying to solve that, Jordy.
Oh, maybe. I see.
But, actually, the Space Station 13 community is fucking wild. Someone rewrote the entire atmospheric simulator in C++ and then backported it to Beyond, which is a fucking crazy thing. And then someone recreated it in fucking Doom. Like, the old Doom as a WAD. And someone is making it in Unity, someone's making it in C#. Like, there are so many remakes.
It seems like they really do have a dedicated fan base for that game.
It's such a fucking good game.
I've watched Tom play before, and every single time, about a literal minute into playing, I'm lost.
Yeah, it's very complicated. Like, that's the thing. Like, I've told Jody about this before. I think I might have said it. There's a compromise. The more complicated something is, the more you can do with it. The easier it is to use, the less complicated.
Yeah.
So it's like, if it was so simple, you couldn't do shit.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
I see what you mean. It's just, for me, whenever I'm, like, trying something new, like...
Yeah.
If I want to play a new game, or maybe I want to read a book or something like that, I always would likely have seen something about it before or heard something about it before, right? And I use that notion, and I've seen Tom play it, and I know that my head is not going to be able to grasp it unless I spent literally like 30 hours playing it.
There are jobs. Like, you can be an assistant, which is where no one expects you to know shit, and you just go around bothering people to teach you stuff. Like, there's literally a job for that. Huh. You could be I guess, a lawyer and just go around and accuse people. You could be a botanist. You can just grow plants and fucking smoke up some weed, dude.
Fuck yeah, bro.
You can, like, give the chef stuff. Like, there is... Oh, chef, that's even fucking easy. That teaches you game mechanics. But, yeah, enough about Space Station 13. I talked about biohacking, right? And
yes.
People creating these particles. So, on that note of biohacking, would you believe that people do homegrown genetic virus therapy?
What does that mean?
So there's a YouTube channel which I've been watching for a while called The Thought Emporium, and he's like a mad scientist, like an actual mad scientist. He's like, he uses his powers for good, though, is the thing.
I see.
He created grapes that taste like meat. Or no, grapes that are made out of meat flesh, meat particles.
What?
He created cheese that tastes like pears and Fruit Loops. He's created a plasmid for cheese that changes its taste based on light levels.
What?
And many more things. Do you know what the craziest part about this is? He live streams him doing this. He hasn't made these things in real life, but there is a free web tool where you can create genes and DNA and plasmids.
What?
You know, like Bioshock plasmids, you inject shit? That's a real thing. You can just do that.
What the fuck?
There's a web tool for free that you can use to manually create DNA sequences. And it's got like macros and templates, like, oh, just insert a little rhinovirus there, insert a little bacteria from a turtle that does this thing, a bit of bioluminescent chemical here, just, knit these together. It's more complicated, but it just blew my fucking mind because...
Surely, to actually make that shit, you need thousands of dollars worth of things.
I mean,
surely.
People have, like, labs, like, you can buy these chemicals, like... they're expensive, but no, like, a couple $1,000s for like the chemicals alone, maybe
to make some cheese taste like some
this dude literally made a gene therapy virus that cured his lactose tolerance.
What?
It didn't last that long, and I'll explain why. But what he did, right? So these people posted a research paper about this thing that was tested on mice, and it was a gene therapy that goes and finds a certain gene, a DNA sequence in your intestines, and then replaces it with a functioning one that generates lactate, which is like, what breaks down like milk products and dairy products. And what he did, he packaged this in a rhinovirus, so the cold virus, and then he put it into a couple pills and just ate it. He made an entire YouTube video doing this entire process. It cured his lactose intolerance for a year.
What? A whole year?
Yeah, he had to take 5 or 6 pills before eating anything dairy, or else he would like shit himself to death. And for a whole year, he could eat any dairy products he wanted.
As long as he took 5 pills, so he didn't shit himself to death.
No, nothing.
What?
He didn't need to. That's what he had to do before.
That was the first...
That's what people with lactose intolerance have to do. They manually have to take lactose, which is a little, they take it before they eat stuff. But he took this virus that replaced his DNA, so he didn't have to use pills for a year. He was just a normal person eating like dairy products.
That's fucking awesome. That's fucking dope.
Yeah. It was literally like he literally created a virus that went and replaced the DNA sequences in his intestines.
And then ate it.
Yeah. He did this at home.
I literally would never be able to trust myself. No matter how sure I was, if I made something like this, I wouldn't be able to eat it myself.
You can like verify this and all that, and he's
See, I'm not him, I don't know anything about a DNA sequence or anything like that. Believe it or not, Tom.
Yeah, I
actually don't.
If you're getting to the point where you're creating viruses, you probably know what you're doing.
That's true.
But the only reason why it wore off is because of the natural process of his cells dying and being replaced.
So just like... What is it? 5 pills a year, and you can just be normal every year.
Well, he's immune to the virus, so he would have to repackage it into a different virus, like a different rhinovirus or something. But he made a YouTube video recently, like a couple of months ago, maybe even less than that, about like the progress, saying how it's like worn off. And since he did that, researchers have created a new sequence using like prawn bacteria or something. Like it's some sort of... instead of using a virus, it's like some cell that binds to shit. Like it's complicated as fuck. Like the sequence is like way bigger and it's harder to synthesize, and no one's tested it on humans before. Like before that, people have tested the lactase one, and like he was one of the few people to do it, but it hasn't even been tested on mice yet, I think. So he made a YouTube video with the source code for the DNA sequence on GitHub, which is an amazing fucking like thing to... Literally, people debugging DNA issues on GitHub.
What?
Like, that's a crazy future we live in. But he made a YouTube video showing this and urging people not to do it.
I mean,
guys, please don't use your home lab to create a DNA virus.
yeah, that's a good call, I'd say.
But you can pay someone to make this virus. You can pay like $20,000 to have it synthesized in a lab. And he urged people, do not fucking do that. And I just like to imagine, like, imagine you do this. You pay $20,000 because you're like a millionaire or something that doesn't want, you want to eat pizza all day long and not fucking shit yourself to death. You get this sequence, you take it, you get sick. What the fuck do? You go to the hospital. Oh yeah, the homegrown DNA sequence virus I took is upsetting my stomach. Help me, please.
Well, I mean,
Please help?
I think when you go to a hospital, they actually have like the sort of, I don't know, duty of care is coming to my mind, but that's not the right word for it.
Yeah.
Is that like, if for instance, if you overdose on heroin, and you go to the hospital, they're not like, well, you took some heroin, can you stay at the door, please? That's
the
illegal.
solemn vow, whatever.
Yeah,
it is.
it's like they have a vow to help
Humanitarian
people.
vow. Something.
Yeah, humanitarian is on the right track.
Do not
if you went in there, I don't think
harm.
they'd ask questions. They'd just be like,
No, what I'm saying is, how the fuck do you fix that?
well,
Oh yeah, better
if
call
you
in.
do it yourself, then there's no way. But if you went to a hospital, and you would have to tell them.
No, what I'm saying is, you go to a hospital. What do they do? Where do they start treating it?
Know.
Oh, better call in Ricky, the in hospital geneticist, to come and fucking sequence your DNA.
This one's not really in the book, is it?
Like, how do you do that?
Yeah.
How the fuck do you fix that? Like,
You can't look it up on YouTube or something, you know?
Like
how to perform anti-genetic surgery.
like that is the most frightening thing to me. Like, I would do the eye particle thing, since that's just little like particles of shit. Like, the way that they bind is kind of complicated, but that's just like physical particles in your eye. Like, no big deal.
Yeah, no.
Whereas
dude, that's cool.
this other thing is literally a virus that alters your DNA. Like,
Nope, not for me.
that's kind of a scary thought. And like, the only way I could think they could fix that is like literally sequence your DNA and create an antivirus or something. Like, create a virus that undoes the
bit of
damage.
McAfee, you know?
Yeah, that guy's crazy.
Yeah,
That guy's literally insane.
yeah. I mean, he made an antivirus. That's a pretty insane thing to do.
You talked about like hearts before for some reason. You said heart or something. I don't remember why.
Probably did, but I don't remember why.
I found a device recently that I thought was kind of interesting. It's called an LVAD.
Never
What do you
heard
think
of it.
that stands for?
LVAD?
Yeah. I'll give you a hint. The V is ventricle. As in heart ventricle.
Lower ventricle artery displacement.
I'm not too far off. Left ventricle assistance device. That's kind of what happens. They it's a device. It's a pump that they open you up. They stick a tube into your ventricle, and then another one into like the lower part of your heart, and they put a pump in the middle that bypasses your ventricle, and the pump runs continuously. So instead of using your heart, you use a pump. You have no pulse. Since your heart isn't pumping, there's no pulse. It's a constant flow. So there are people out there using these LVADs who have no pulse but are perfectly alive.
That's cool, but also terrifying.
Isn't that a crazy thought? Like, you could like
imagine. What if you get in a car crash?
you're passed out on the floor, like you have a very shallow breath or something. They measure the pulse and they're like, oh, he's dead.
Yeah.
And you suddenly get up and you're like, oh, what happened?
You give everyone else their heart attack.
They'd scare. That'd be fucking terrifying.
Yeah, that's not. You would need to have something on you. If you
I guess
had
they
that.
would know because there's fucking shit sticking out of your chest.
Probably, yeah. That's one of those. If you have a problem like that, you know how every phone has those like medical details on the home screen,
or like a little wristband thing.
yeah, or one of those. Like you would have this somewhere. If, you know, you just in your wallet, definitely in your wallet, you would have something.
I have that. I don't know why I did this, but on my right hand implant, I have like medical contact info.
Who is gonna know to
exactly.
check that?
I don't know why. Like this. I wanted to get a tattoo actually on my right hand of like a little Wi-Fi symbol next to my implant. I reckon that'd be pretty cool. The NFC logo that's on like.
Oh yeah,
you know, like the N and the square.
Yeah,
I reckon that'd be cool, but. There's a specific NDEF, which is the NFC protocol, like message for emergency contact information. So you can have a wristband that, you know, is like the fucking hot one. They can scan it. I don't know who, like, what, did they have scanners on them or anything?
I imagine the ambulances would.
Yeah, but like,
but if you're just some random dude helping out someone in a car crash, I mean, you're not going to know shit. So
I looked up what these LVADs look like, and they look like some fucking 70s technology shit.
Do they?
They're literally like a pump like they're just
Are they like gold plated and shit?
no. They're probably beige or something. They're
Oh,
just
of course.
random fucking like pumps and I'm showing you a picture of the Joy. Just type in LVAD.
Oh, okay.
It's like you have a little
Looks
thing.
like just a bit of fucking PVC.
Yeah, you have a tube on your chest, and then you have a wire coming out just below your pecs, and you have a box on the front of you that has tube wires that goes out to batteries in like side holsters.
That seems safe.
Yeah, and I was thinking like I could fucking like this doesn't.
Tom.
No, like it's just a pump. It's just a pump. I could design something smaller, but then I thought about it and I was like, why isn't this smaller?
Probably because it needs to be big.
Yeah, if it was big, like it's easier to see, it's easier to manage if it's bigger. Like if this shit goes wrong, like you're gonna fix some tiny ass little thing, and the batteries are like old like lead acid ones because they're reliable. Like the
Be
thing
able
with
to go on a plane.
the thing with maybe the thing with medical technology, it's so big and bulky because it's proven to work.
Yeah.
Like medical technology doesn't get improved unless it's like unanimously tested
Much
and like
better.
yeah, exactly. Like
I've always assumed there should be better ways to like fix a broken arm than a massive cast by now, but
Yeah.
it just works.
yeah, exactly.
That's
it
why
works.
they
and
do
it's
it.
reliable and it's
Yeah.
like it's been in common knowledge for a while. People know how to manage it, they know how to repair it, they know what it is. Like if you had some new fucking alien looking tech on your
I
arm.
always see it in my mind as like, like an exoskeleton
Yeah.
type thing where it sort of like literally braces your arm in place. Have you seen those gloves that they're making for like VR games where like if you hold it,
Yeah,
it like
like-
stops?
Oh, they got little motors on
Yeah,
your
I
fingers.
see. That's what
yeah.
I see. That on your arm, keeping it in place.
Every time I see those gloves, I imagine it malfunctioning, just snapping your fingers
Literally,
backwards.
me too.
Except they're not strong enough.
Yeah.
But,
But like that's what I imagine, like all over your arm, so it stays in place, and maybe you could have a shower with it on and all that
I
sort
thought
of
you
stuff.
were going to talk about Elysium, where the fucking exoskeleton's drilled into his bone.
Oh no!
That movie was fucking cool. I loved the art direction and like prop design of that movie.
I don't
It's
think
really cool.
I've seen it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I don't think I've seen it.
I'm excited to talk about FlickView, even though you guys have already heard it.
Oh.
Do you remember what we watched? Exactly.
No, not at all.
Exactly.
Did we not watch anything?
No, we watched some. I'm not going to tell you what it is until we get to that because it's going to hit you. It's going to fucking hit you. Don't think about it. Don't.
All
think about
right.
it. But that's pretty much all I had. We're about 40 minutes, so that's nice
All right.
little short and sweet one.
Yeah, well, that was
Packed
a nice
Interesting info.
delve into the mind, I would say.
I'm totally going to research how to make these nanoparticles and
Oh,
inject them
God.
into my eye because
Tune in next week when it's just me because Tom's blind.
it's not going to be that quick.
Yeah.
I can't even finish JTAP and that. Yeah.
But do me a favor and finish that first, at least, so
Yeah.
that I can still upload it. Because I'm not gonna. How are you gonna teach me how to do this if you're blind?
Exactly.
So yeah. Anyway, thank you all for listening, everyone. Hope you enjoyed. We'll see you next week.
Catch ya.